Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Defense of the Australians. We've got our first match of the day today between Snatch, Steel, and United Sexy Boys International. I'm Zellerf, and as always, I'm joined by Dota Yoshi. How you doing this morning?
I am doing quite reasonable. Quite reasonable
Still haven't
indeed.
quite woken up, right?
I'm getting there. Getting there.
Yeah. We'll hop right into draft. Elder Titan gets banned immediately by United Sexy Boys. Now, that's considering how much we saw Elder Titan yesterday, that doesn't surprise me too much. Snatch Steel bans that Bat Rider, so nothing too out of the usual so far.
Mm. So Naga-san will be taken out as well. One very, very strong support, offers a lot of utility, a lot of potential in both ganking and team fights, so it just really depends on how you want to run. She's very, very nice hero, but we won't be seeing her in this pool at the moment. There's still a few key heroes that usually like to be picked up recently. Like there is a lifestealer. Lifestealer's still left in the pool if they want to go down that route. Mentally blank into what other heroes was about to say. There's an OD actually. Our Devourer still hasn't been banned out. We might see one of our first ODs in the tournament. Don't believe we've seen an OD so far.
Yeah, no, I can't recall. No, I don't think we have. At least not one that we've casted. But there we go. OD does get picked up by United Sexy Boys. We'll see if Snatch still pick up the Razor, just as like there we go, as expected. And Weaver gets picked up as well. So some great picks from both sides at the moment. We've still got Darkseer in the pool as well. There is a Lifestealer. So there's still a few really big heroes to pick from here.
Yeah, and Bounty Hunter will be picked up by United Sexy Boys. This offers a lot of potential. He just needs to soak in until he's level 6. Once he hits that level 6, he'll rotate in mid. He'll help that Outward Devourer try and go against that Razor. Try and find a gank and try and find any kills on that map because Bounty Hunter and Track is such a beautiful skill. The amount of gold it gives off and the amount of ease it helps you to get into those kills. That track movement speed it's fantastic. So look to see United Sexy Boys once that Bounty Hunter hits level 6 about 9-minute mark, if he is lucky, if he's not zoned out too much by Snatch Steel. Look to see him start roaming fast, look to see him roam early, and Razor could be in a little trouble, but Razor is generally a pretty tanky hero, especially up against an OD. You'll have a lot of damage, so you can force OD back. And if you force OD back while Bounty Hunters rotating to you, they're not going to be able to do too much.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's I like the Bounty Hunter choice. Those track kills can really start stacking up and really help your entire team really maintain a gold lead or even come back from a gold deficit. We do see the train get banned out there, Abaddon as well, and they just profit by Snatch Steel. So we won't see any of that play. We still have IO in the pool, although at this stage of the game I doubt either side will pick up an IO. You feel the same way here? I mean, I still feel that if they were going to play an IO, they probably would have picked him in the first phase.
And now we see, yeah, Darkseer. So Darkseer, we haven't seen too much of him this tournament as well, but he's always a very, very useful player. He can just throw him in the offlane, he'll grab a lot of farm. If needed, he can rotate into the jungle and start working his way through multiple stacks if he's been stacking or if the supports have been stacking for him. And when it comes to team fight, you do not beat a Darkseer. That vacuum wall combination is superb. You have a surge to help those teammates get on out of there if they are falling low or if you're chasing some hero down. So far, though, neither team really has any lockdown. They're both missing key slows, they're missing key stuns, so this could be a little bit strange when it comes to these team fights if they don't have the lockdown.
That is true. I feel Snatch Steel maybe has a little bit more of that control in those team fights just because they've got that Darkseer at the moment. Well, there's an Alchemist now, so that helps with in regards to stuns. That Darkseer, you know, with the vacuum certainly helps keep the enemy together. There's an Nyx Assassin now, so yeah, some of those lockdowns that are coming out, which we just mentioned before. Nyx Assassin is quite good. He has his Impale, which can obviously hit multiple targets, but also has his Spike Carapace for an extra little bit of stun.
What kind of support do you feel as if United Sexy Boys should pick up? I mean, there's a lot of support still left in the pool. There's a Jakira, you've got your Lena, you've got a Chen if you want to, or Enchantress if you want to start pushing for these towers, try and get a little bit of a gold lead for more of an early style aggression. But that early style aggression doesn't seem like United Sexy Boys style at the moment. They have a Bounty Hunter, OD, and Alchemist. These heroes primarily come out into that mid-game role. Alchemist, once he starts picking up his few big items after that Graveland's Grid starts stacking up. We won't be seeing an Alchemist go for that support route. I like seeing support Alchemist because it's always interesting. Because you can get a lot of farm, you can get those big key support items up, and it helps your team a lot earlier. But we shouldn't be seeing that in this fight. It does look like they will be running that Alchemist as their first carry position, and now they pick up the Bane.
I quite like this Bane pick. I mean, you know, Bane's got a lot of lockdown there, and Feeble certainly helps against several, particularly the Razor and the Weaver on the side of Snatch still, you know, just lower that damage that they can dish out. Now, I still think maybe United Sexy Boys should put up another stun hero on their side, or maybe something to help a little bit more with just the positioning. Snatch still banned out of Sand King. Sand King would not have been too bad here. I mean, it works. It gives them a little bit more AoE and whatnot if United Sexy Boys were to pick them up. There's still a few other options there. They might even pick up something like an Earthshaker or something, just so that way when they're in those team fights and Darkseid puts down those walls, he can just Echo Slam and kill a lot of them off and do extra damage in those team fights. But we'll see exactly how United Sexy Boys decide to play this. Another range support, or maybe something like a Lena Lestrak. Lestrak would at the very least allow them to maybe push towers a little bit faster, but we'll see exactly how they decide to play it.
And who will Snatch steal? Who will they want to pick up for their final support? I mean, Nyx Assassin combines well with anyone. Pretty much as you said, any stunning hero for either side. Bane, if they pick up a stunning hero themselves, they've got a perfect setup. You got the Nightmare, you got the stun. Nyx Assassin, Spat Carapace, and that stun, and Jakiro comes out. He's my favourite hero in this game. I mean, I don't play him as much, but he is just beautiful. The amount of potential he offers as a support. He's such a great defensive support. Ice Path, your Macropire, and then he's got a lot of DPS coming out of him from the Dual Breath Liquid Fire and that Macropire. He's an all-around support. He plays extremely defensive. He can go on the offensive because he's got such a great range in that Ice Path and the amount of damage he can pull out. It's a nice choice coming from Smash Bill, especially being able to combine that Ice Path with the Vacuum.
Yeah, you were hoping this happened last night when Darkseid was picked up, but unfortunately no Jakiro. But this time you got your wish. Hopefully you will see some of those vacuum ice paths that you so crave.
Well, I'm just gonna put it out. I like vacuum ice paths a little bit more than a vacuum cocktail coming out from a witch doctor. It just feels it works just a little bit better.
Yeah, well, we'll see exactly how they decide to play this. I feel like Snatch still are just going to go in the safe lane with this tri lane. Same sort of story with United Sexy Boys. You want your Alchemist to be able to get those last hits and just allow the gold to start rolling with the Greevil's Greed. You don't. If you put him in an aggressive tri lane, depending on what sort of, like, especially without a Visage and all that sort of stuff, you might struggle to get a lot of that gold going early on, which you really don't want in an Alchemist. I mean, he can always come back because the Greevil's Greed, but you'd always want an early advantage. And there's a Crystal Maiden. So another good hero, lots of AoE, some decent lockdown, and also Aura just helps everyone around the map.
And now the heroes will be selecting. We will be jumping into this game. Game 1 of Day 2, Defense of the Australians, coming your way. And over on the side of Snatch still, we have Owly will be played onto that Razor. You have Oxley will be on that Nyx Assassin. Playing on that Darkseid will be Streets. Adro will be on the Weaver. And finally, Optic will be on that dual-headed dragon, Jakiro.
And on the side of United Sexy Boys, we do have their captain. It's Wanderlust playing the OD. We have Bubblegum on the Bane. Faith is playing the Bounty Hunter. Bekistan is on the Crystal Maiden, and last but not least, we've got Beaver on the Alchemist.
So it does look like United Sexy Boys will be going for a defensive tri-lane. I mean, you have that Alchemist. You gotta... Actually, they can go aggressive if they really want to, but a bounty hunter, you don't usually see them too often on that safe lane. They are usually thrown in that off lane no matter what kind of situation, but there is potential for United Sexy Boys to go aggressive. You have a Nightmare, you have a charged chemical, unstable concoction, then you've got a follow-up from Crystal Maven, and she can pull out a lot of damage herself. You have Crystal Nova, and it does surprisingly a lot amount of damage, 100, 150, 200, 250, and that's a great slow on top of that, as well as the damage. You can find yourself an easy first blood, but for an Alchemist, you want the stacks to be rolling in. You want all the farm to be going his way as fast as possible, because once he hits that first big item or two, usually he can get a second big item out before the opposing team can get their first big item. And if that can happen, that's when you take advantage, that's when you push towers, and that's when you show what you have available in your team lineup.
Yeah, I also feel like, you know, Crystal Maiden's a hero that loves getting those kills early on, even if it's just in the 6 gold, just because it allows her to get some of those items which she sort of needs. She's quite a fragile hero on her own. She sort of needs a few items to sort of stay alive long enough in those team fights to be of real use. So we might see a lot of roaming from these two guys as well. You know, a Bane and a Crystal Maiden who, you know, can smoke gank a Razor, that can potentially deal a ton of damage and then allow Wanderlust to really dominate the mid lane as well.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Also, it does come down to those supports who wins that mid lane, because usually they're fairly even on their own. Both of them being able to basically keep up with each other's attack damage. Usually OD comes out ahead, but with that counter pick Razor will be able to keep up. So it does come down to these supports, and it looks like we may be having an aggressive tri-lane coming down the side of Snatch still.
Very interesting. I mean, they do have reliable lockdowns, and a Weaver can dish out a lot of damage very quickly. We'll
Uh,
see. We'll see how this goes though, because they if United Sexy Boys they go for the safe lane, they've got a lot of lockdown as well, so they might just be able to disengage it, or maybe even turn the fight around.
I feel as if their tri-lane of United Sexy Boys, if they go against the tri-lane of Snatch still, then they might be better off. I mean, there is a Nyx Assassin who's got a fantastic Impale, and you have that Ice Path coming out from Optic, but Weaver, usually, he's not too predominant mid-game. He's got security, he's got a few auto attacks, but his auto attacks do not hurt. And even with Gemini, they don't hurt too much. And if these three heroes on United Sexy Boys, they can get some of their chain stuns going off with the Nightmare into that Unstable Concoction. Unstable Concoction does a surprising amount of damage, and it's got a great lockdown onto that target. And it comes down to how well these supports can keep that Weaver alive, because that Weaver will get instantly burst down without a doubt before he can even get that security off. If he gets Nightmared and then follow-up comes out from United Sexy Boys, he can be burst down faster than the speed of light. And it comes down to how well these supports can ward off United Sexy Boys and force them to play defensively. If they can force them to play defensively, then Snatch still and that Weaver, he should be able to get a little bit of farm and shouldn't be contested too much.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see exactly how this tri-lane goes. I mean, it's at the same time, you know, United Sexy Boys, they have a few of those fragile heroes. You know, the Crystal Maiden can be picked off very quickly. They do have some sentries on them on the Bane though. I'm assuming they were going to use those for de-warding, just to ensure they got the pull camps and whatnot, but having those to maybe pick off a Weaver would also be very, very good.
And so far there was a ping coming down. They possibly know where that ward is. A little bit of DPS coming out from Ekistan. Just trying to get some crit kills of his own, which is, I'm not sure the right choice, as Alchemist does need whatever he can, and he did go for that Grieveland's Greed first. Not sure if I agreed with that Grieveland's Greed. They do see that Impale coming out, no follow-up, because if there is an attack going on, as what could have happened then, he's got nothing to offer to that fight. He's just got Grieveland's Greed. I really prefer Unstable Concoction at level 1, purely because if anything's happened, it's a backup plan. You don't necessarily need that Grievance Greed. But he's now got it, so it's not too much harm done. And some pulls are coming in from Bubblegum. Oh, Bubblegum. Yes, it is bubblegum. Sorry. And now they're going on to that Crystal Maiden. They're coming in. There goes the Impale Six. She comes final through the sun. Auto attack down. Alchemist is trying to throw out whatever he can. Can they find that final last hit? No, they will not. If Adro ran in and continued to follow that down, he would have found that kill on that Crystal Maiden. So it's a little bit surprising that he didn't decide to maybe go underneath that tower. He did have a Sakuchi come off cooldown in 2 seconds, but the Crystal Maiden will survive.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, if he ran in there and got the kill, but then Bane was able to come in with a nightmare and whatnot, it possibly could have been a kill on that Weaver, which would have. I mean, you get a kill on the support and you get the first blood, but your Weaver dies at the same time. I don't know, it might have been more of an even trade-off than anything else.
And in mid lane, Razor, he did get pulled from his team. He did go for that full Wraith Band, got pulled some tangos and consumables, helping him stand up against that OD a little bit more. And he stole 70 damage coming out from that OD. Poor OD can't do anything. Usually he's the one that completely ruins heroes and their attack, but slowly doing a nice job in mid. I believe he is sitting on the scoreboard 9 for 6 against an OD 7 for 2. Down at bottom, aggressive Darkseer in between the 2 tier towers, and there's not too much Faith can do about it. He's just getting damaged a lot from these iron shields, and Straits is picking up a lot of gold, a lot of XP. He's going to try and run past this tower. He's going to take a lot of unnecessary tower hits. He's not going to fall. We will see Faith just ward him off. Darkseer could have just walked down into the river. He decided he's happy enough to take that tower damage and pop that consumable.
Yep, and like this has sort of been the case in his bottom lane this entire game. You know, Straits has really been aggressive. He's been pushing Faith all the way back to that tier 2 at times, and this should indicate that that tier 1 tower in bottom should fall relatively quickly, just because of how far the creeps are going out, how much aggression is being played. But Faith, there's very little stuff that he can do. I mean, we look at Faith; he's only got 3 last hits compared to the Darkseer, who's got 17. I mean, it's hard for a bounty hunter just because of that melee, and the Iron Shell just does so much damage very quickly.
And he's going to have his soul ring up very shortly. He's going to continue pushing this lane. He's unfortunately going to miss on that vacuum down at bottom. If he grabbed that vacuum on Faith, he wouldn't have found a kill. Would have done a lot of damage in the mid lane. They're going in onto that OD. Slowly, he does pick out that first blood from that increased damage coming out from his static link. He had an extra 168 damage. That is ridiculous. He finds a haste. He's going to return back to that mid lane.
Yeah, doing so well. He dived past the tower was attacking the creeps. He didn't attack the OD until he had his maximum amount of static link, and after that it was just too late. On the last was the first to fall.
Top lane and Ice Puff coming out. They're going to get the Impale. It will land onto one here. Bane's in a lot of trouble. Stable Concoction trying to hold him back. He gets that Nightmare off, but it's not going to be enough. One final auto attack coming out from that Weaver. We'll find him his first kill of the game.
Yeah, and you know, I spoke about before how when you put yourself in an aggressive tri lane, sometimes your carry might have issues getting those last hits on the creeps and whatnot, especially if there's a lot of pulling and stuff going on. But currently Adro, he's sitting on 21 for 5, with the Alchemist is only sitting on 16 for 0, so they're doing incredibly well in this top lane, especially since they also got a kill there.
And the Impale's got to hit the Ice Puff, also thrown out at the same time, so there's not going to be any stuns going on there. Down the bottom, we do see that Darkseer. He does find it off that Bounty Hunter. And Alchemist, he stuns himself at top lane. This could be a problem. He turns around, he throws down that spray. He gets hit by the dual breath. One more auto attack will be enough. No, he will get away. Bubblegum just trying to ward them off as much as possible. But once again, I feel as if the Weaver could have possibly gotten one more sneaky auto attack and then Sakuchi'd away, but he's playing it safe. He doesn't want to give away anything. And Ali in mid, he's pushing away that OD. He's pushed him back to his tier 2 tower. It seems like both these two lanes, middle and bottom, they just want to sit in between these towers and do as much XP and financial damage to these heroes as possible.
Yeah, I mean, this mid, or actually all these lanes are super aggressive. I remember when I spoke to Ali in an interview that he said like they're very balls deep playstyle. They'll push far and go deep if they have to, and this is exactly what they're doing already in the first 6 minutes of the game.
And All lanes currently respectively winning their lanes. You have Darkseid's 38 for 2 up against the Bounty Hunter that has only picked up 7 kills with 3. He's already decided to rotate around. He's up at top lane. They're trying to find it. He's level 6, and this is perfect. This is what you need to do. When you're a Bounty Hunter and you reach that next level, he's up here. He's waiting. Cocktail is being channeled, but Weaver, he's turning around, he comes off, they're going to hit him, track is up, they're going to start trying to find a kill, there's no time left on Weaver, and they burst him down without a problem. Ice Path, and that Empower comes out, nice Nightmare. It's going to be transferred to that Crystal Maiden. She doesn't have anything to offer as she doesn't have enough mana. Now Bounty Hunter, they're chasing down this next assassin, they're walking through that river. Janana is going to slow him down, and he's trying to get in front to creep block, but he just keeps walking into him. He's not getting any of those additional auto attacks off, which is a little bit unfortunate. And now Ali, he's rotated up, he's going to be looking for a kill. He gets his static link off very surely. Where's your static link? There's his static link. Now he's going to be chasing them down. He hasn't popped his ultimate as of yet. Crystal Maiden will ward off Ali, but Ali's just going to turn around. He's going to man fight it up. Cocktail comes on through. It's going to land. They're going to get the final auto attacks, and this is a second track kill in 30 seconds. That is going to be very useful for the side of United Sexy Boys. Not to mention the buyback coming from that Razor.
Yeah, that was... I think he just was way too aggressive there, in my opinion. He didn't have the backup of his supports. He went in against 4. I guess he just didn't realize how many there were.
And now in mid lane, they're chasing down that OD. He pops himself into that Astral Imprisonment. It's not going to be enough. He will get auto-attacked from a Razor, hitting for 289 damage. My god, that Razor. Astral Imprisonment working against that OT as Ali just absorbed all that damage. Nice rotation coming in from that Darkseid. Tanked up a few of those tower hits so Ali didn't have to, and they easily found a kill on that Outworld Devourer.
Yeah, extremely well played by Ali there, as well as the Darkseid there being played by Straits. It's certainly, Wanderlust has been denied a lot this game. He's only sitting on 23 last hits compared to the Razor, who's on 39. So as well as those deaths, it really does hurt him. And as an OD, when your early game is hurt so bad, it's going to affect your late game as well, because you can't get those items up, you can't get your intelligence high enough to really dish out the necessary damage in team fights.
And OD is very, very item reliant. He's probably one of the most item reliant on the side of United Sexy Boys. So if you can shut him down and keep him under farmed, which at the moment he's only got 1700 net worth against a Razor who's 31, so it's almost double in terms of net worth. It's going to set him back very, very hard. And will he be able to pull out any damage in the team fights is a question, because that Sanity Eclipse, if you've got items, it will rip through sides, but if you've got nothing, it's not going to do anything. People are going to brush it off, and one of the main reasons for being an OD has kind of just taken it out of the window, and they're going in top. Weaver's got the Iron Shell, he's Shikuchi'd in, he's doing a lot of damage to this Crystal Maiden. Few auto attacks and this Crystal Maiden should fall. They're not going to be able to do too much. The Cocktail comes out onto that Darkseid. He at least gets his damage of that Ice Blast down. He gets vacuumed back in from the rest of the group. Bubblegum might fall here. Nice Ice Puff, but unfortunately it's going to miss. They're still chasing underneath this tower. They're going. Weaver will pick up another kill. Now they're going. Nice Impale lands onto that Alchemist and the auto attack from that Darkseid. So they pick up 2 kills underneath that tower in mid lane at the same time. Razor is getting very aggressive and wants to look at going onto that OT, but OT does get that defensive Astral Imprisonment off and gets on out of there.
Yeah, great game coming out there from the side of Snatch. Still, they might even push this tier 1. Yep, they will get it. So this is some great play. They got the tier 1 tower in bottom early. They've got the top tier 1 tower now, and they can really start roaming around the map. They can put more pressure on Wanderlust. Not that they really need to. They've already put a lot of pressure on him already. But they can also go for this mid tier 1 very soon.
And speaking of going for that mid-tier 1, they're rotating through that jungle, see if they can find anything. A little bit of miscommunication. Nyx is like, okay, we're going through the jungle, we're not going through the river. And they're going to spot out the rest of United Sexy Boys. Acid Cocktail's being channeled, lands onto Optic. Was that the right target? It's another question. They're going to throw out that Acid spray on the ground, a lot of damage. Your breath is not going to hit anyone. It goes through the field goals. OD will fall to that Darkseid and that Weaver combination, doing a lot of damage coming out there. They're chasing down. Nice Ice Puff lands onto that Alchemist. Alchemist will fall. And now Razor, he's got no health, but he doesn't care. He's turning around. If Bane had enough mana to throw out that Brain Snap, he could turn it around. He's waiting for it, but he's still 20 mana short. That is 3 heroes down. Oh, that's 4 heroes down, sorry. And this could be the next tier 1 tower. Bounty Hunter, he's searching. He's not going to find his kill, though. He might get courier. He will not get courier.
Might get a haste though.
He gets something. And Jakiro, nice awareness. Notice that rune got picked up. Throws out that dust on top of that Bounty Hunter, and Bounty Hunter's still got to sneak on out of there.
Yep. He will be able to manage. They will spot him as he runs past that ward, but he's got haste. There's nothing they can do. Instead, they're just going to go in mid.
And there's an aggressive TP. TP will be cancelled by that OD. Bounty Hunter revealing he is in that mid lane, still with that haste. Should be able to pick up a few of these last hits. He's working towards his drums. He's got it currently picked up in his stash if he wants to bring that to him. And that additional health and movement speed is going to help out Bounty Hunter, especially in this kind of game. Lots of these heroes can do a lot of sustained damage, a lot of control. You need to be able to tank it up a little bit. And Alchemist, he's going for that Shadow Blade. It's going to be a very late Shadow Blade because he has been kept down in terms of farm. And speaking of that farm, everyone on the side of Snatch still, they're sitting at that 5k mark. They've got a lot of gold available to them. Mechanism is up on Darkseid, and that's a 12-minute mechanism. This allows them to push a lot more efficiently and be a lot more safer in these team fights. So if they want to start roaming as 5 and start pushing these towers and start engaging in these team fights, they have the availability and they have the items to back them up.
Yeah, I mean, we just look at the gold graph here. It's over 7.5k advantage for Snatch still. Oh, looks like we might have a gank here on.
And a fantastic ice path. Vendetta's going to hit. He doesn't have enough mana to throw out any stuns, but they won't need it. There's no tier 1 tower here. Bane's trying to hold him off, and as much as possible, there's no TP supports coming in. Brain Stab and the Enfeeble, a little bit late. The ice path once again landed. Oh my god, I love Jakiros. And now the Bane, he will fall shortly after to the vacuum coming from that Darkseid. And Alchemist, he will TP out back to his home base. And OD, he couldn't TP in, he's got no damage next to his name, he's got no items. And the Bounty Hunter almost fell to the Razor down on bottom, so nice gank coming out by Snatch still.
Yep, and looks like a Razor, he's just going for his BKB early. I would assume he's got an Ogre Clubs, currently got 1.6k, we'll see exactly what he gets with that. We saw him use a buyback before, so he might seem to save that for a little bit first before he gets a little bit more gold. But that, if he does get a BKB, it'll ensure that a lot of this magic damage which United Sexy Boys currently have, particularly from the OD when he starts to get rolling, if he can, but also just the lockdown from United Sexy Boys will be negated, except for the Fiend's Grip, obviously. So Bane, he's still only level 5. Owly being so aggressive.
Oh, damn it, I accidentally hit my mute button. What is this? Razor, he will find a kill. He's going down on Razor. He's chasing him, but Razor will pick up that kill on that Alchemist. Faith, not enough to be able to support them up the top lane. They get the vacuum into the Impale. They get a dual breath, and they will find 2 kills on that top lane. So both lanes very much winning in terms, and now the mechanism is pushed, and they're going towards that tier 2 tower.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, it looks like it won't get defended either. Wanderlust might try to go for a bit of a push here on the mid tier 1. No, yeah, instead he's going to back off. Yeah, I don't feel like they can really defend this at the moment. We'll see how they go. The Razor's not there though, so they might be able to get a good engagement.
And next Assassin, they're going to ward off that OD just a little bit. And OD, his items, no Talisman and a Tranquil Boots. He's got no Force Off in start, and that's one of your best items. The Ice Path is going to ward off and try and hold that Alchemist back. Alchemist is going to stun himself, probably for the 5th or 6th time in this match so far. They're going to turn back around. They've got the Sentry Ward down there, watching the rotation from those 2 invisible heroes. Ice Path comes out. Vendetta will land onto Bubblegum. Bubblegum will be burst down from that vacuum. Now they're going to look at going back onto the OD. OD's trying to run. Weaver's chasing him down. Sakuchi does knock him, and now Crystal Maiden, he does slow down that Darkseid as much as possible. The Acid Cocktail comes out, but it does no damage. It's only level 2. It didn't get channeled for too long. And now, Wanderlust, he will be burst down from that Jewel Breath coming out from that Jakiro. They're searching. They're looking for him. Dust lands onto the Bounty Hunter, but Bounty Hunter will get on out of here. And the buyback comes from that OT. And he pops his Astral Imprisonment. He's got a Sentient Eclipse up, but how much will that Sentient Eclipse do? He's got no int items to his name. He gets impaled, he gets hit by that Static Link and that Plasma Field, and he will fall straight after his buyback. That's not good. Bubblegum, he will fall shortly after. Owly, you can't hold Owly and that Weaver down. Enfeeble, it only doesn't enough once you have that Static Link. It's not going to do too much. And Snatch still, I don't think they're going to be looking to take this, lose this game anytime soon. I can't see what United Sexy Boys can do as they try and get that Nyx Assassin. Nyx Assassin turns around and they just pick off that Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, the items are just too great here. They've got... Ali has almost finished his BKB. It is what he's going for. He's got 1.9k on him. You know, the Darkseid we spoke before, he's already got his mechanism. It's just too far. Adro's got his Lincolns. Shakiro, he's got almost 2k and he's already finished his Arcanes. I can't see United Sexy Boys coming out from this. Like, they're just not... They really lost pretty much all their lanes just from this super aggression from Snatch Steal.
And, my voice. And a little bit of standoff around this tier 2 tower. And he's just going to walk aggressively, walk behind this tower. He doesn't care. That Enfeeble, it's only reducing his attack by 30. And he can pick that up in one stack of his Static Link when he decides to go on a hero. And he's going in. He's starting to pick up all that damage back up here. He gets 28, unfortunately. So he does negate that Enfeeble. But he would have liked a little bit more there. But they grabbed the tier 2 tower. You can't complain. And Darkseid, he's walking around. He wants to go in there. He's looking at going in there. Faith, he gets slowed. He gets wall comes down. Wall's not going to land. Neither will that Ice Puff. So a lot of these key abilities will be missing on the side of Snatch Steal. But United Sexy Boys, they're just going to have to sit in their base. They can't look to leave this base. They've got one chance, and that's to get lucky and Snatch Steal overextend. Other than that, at the moment, they're just going to have to sit here, hope that Alchemist can get a little bit of farm from that Grievelin's Greed. I don't agree with his 3 points in Acid Spray. There's no stacks currently going on in his camp, or any of these camps, for the facts. And Acid Spray, it's more of a farming utility item. I prefer Grievelin's Greed and that Unstable Concoction, as it pulls out a lot more damage. But I mean, if he had that level 4 Unstable Concoction, I guess he would have been killing himself a lot faster than he has so far, as he currently stuns himself more than the enemy at the moment. And now there's a smoke up. They're walking down on bottom. Will they be able to find it? The Sentry comes down. They're going to see Oxley. Oxley throws out the Impale. It lands onto the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden does take a lot of damage. Sanity Eclipse is going to do 0 damage in this fight. 2 heroes down. That's third hero about to fall. Alchemist will go down. Wanderlust is on the run. Will they be able to find Wanderlust? Wanderlust will finally go down. Will it be a team like Faith? He's on the run. He's sitting underneath this tower. And Ali, he's trying to find him. He's not going to be able to find him. But that is 4 kills. That's tier 2. And that could possibly be game for Snatch Steal.
Yeah, they've really taken control of this entire game. We saw Ali earlier on in the mid lane just be so aggressive, dive past towers. Same situation with Straits in the bottom lane. And even in the top lane with that aggressive trialing, you know, we were sort of skeptical a little bit about it, just because, I don't know, it seemed like United Sexy Boys had enough lockdown to be able to, at the very least, shut down any sort of aggression, but they managed to pull it off, and yeah, they just kept snowballing from there.
And Snatch Steal, they've just been playing quite a nice coordinated game so far. They have missed a few of their key abilities, example that last fight in front of that tier 3 tower in mid, but it doesn't matter. They've had nice rotation come around from the sports. The Nyx Assassin and Jakiri, they've been trying to find and open up kills all around the place. They did come mid, they helped out that Razor. Razor didn't need that help as he was more than enough to take on this OD. And OD, if he gets shut down early game, he's basically useless. That Sanity Eclipse last fight did 0 damage. Ooh, it burned some heroes' mana, but he won Arcane Boots, gave him that mana back, and they were still able to cast a lot of their spells. And OD, he's just paperweight at the moment. He just can't do too much.
Yeah, definitely. And I just like to point out that there is a gem currently on the core. We'll see if he picks up. It will be the Nyx Assassin. Darkseid also, he's sitting on 2.5k. He's almost finished off his Cypher Vice. That's even more lockdown here that Snatch still can dish out. I mean, there's this is looking tough for 960 boys. Like even Bounty Hunter, who's sort of just been roaming around, the dust haven't been doing too much to him. But now for Gem, even he has to be very, very careful.
And the gold graph is, it's kind of somewhere you don't want to look at because it does make you kind of cringe. It is 25k gold advantage in Snatch Steal, so they're earning more than a k gold advantage a minute, and that is heavy, especially with the XP. It is 20k XP in favor of Snatch Steal, and it looks extremely grim. I mean, it is 25 for 2, they haven't got a single tower so far, Roshan's about to be 4, so it just comes down to when does Snatch Steal want to end this, when do they want to push into that base, and after this Roshan token's picked up, I think it will be very shortly, as the Cypher 5 is now picked up on the Dark Sith.
Yeah, after they pick up this Aegis, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to just go up into the base, at the very least get a tier 3 tower, but I suspect they'll probably get a Rax there as well. We saw last team fight how the Insanity's Eclipse just did nothing from their OD, and that's pretty much their big AoE item, big AoE spell. We see Crystal Maiden, she's got a level in the ulti, but she needs to, you know...
And Vendetta lands onto that Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter's going to get impaled. He's going to be shown for his, I would say, insolence, but, I mean... he's just gone, there's nothing you can do about it. They had a sentry, they had an eye on that next assassin who was Vendetta up. So they couldn't tell that he did have an eye on him. But now they know. Now there's the push into that tier 3 tower. Weaver's just lagging behind just a little bit. He picks up his Lincoln Sphere. They burst down that Alchemist. There's nothing that Alchemist can do. That's heroes, 2 heroes down. There is a buyback up in that Alchemist, but I don't know if he'll want to buy back now. He's already far enough behind. He's trying to get that... what's that word? That Shadow Blade. He's got the Claymore, he still needs to pick up that Shadow Amulet, and then ult's been popped out, that Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden comes on in, she gets just a few auto attacks to kill her off, and then Bane, that's gone. That's 4 heroes that have died so far. They're going to call the GG, and Snatch Steal will be moving on in defense of the Australians. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's early morning, leave me alone.
This is a best of 3, so we'll be hopping into game number 2 very shortly. I'd just like to say thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to Cubos for sponsoring the tournament. I've been Zelnarf and I've been joined by Yoshi. We'll be back in a moment.